Welcome to Mars or Bust. I'm Spaceman Dave, and this is episode 14, Starship's first day on Mars. And ours. Please hit like and subscribe. It lets myself and YouTube know you're enjoying these videos. Hey everybody, today we're going to take a look at Starship and what it's going to be like for those people the day they land on Mars. But before we get to that, we're going to take a look at what it's going to be like for them to get off this planet. Okay, it's liftoff day. You've spent your whole life dreaming of this. You hear the countdown reach 0 and the engines ignite. Suddenly you're thrust back into your seat like nothing you've ever felt before. You hear them say that the ship has cleared the launch tower. You glance out the window just in time to see the clouds rush by as the ship hits max Q. Just minutes later, everything goes dark. You're weightless and in space. You have a second to take your first real breath. You feel the first stage separate and you think, yes, we made it, but you really know this is just the beginning. You hear over the radio that you're in rendezvous orbit with the refueling tanker. You hear that you're in line and closing on the tanker. You hear the pilot say that the tanker is now in view. 50 meters. You know this is a critical point, that if this doesn't work out, you won't be going anywhere. 20 meters. 10 meters in closing. 5 meters, the computer shows everything is in alignment. Half a meter. Docking confirmed. Fueling now begins. After what seems like hours, you hear the pilot say, fueling complete, docking clamps disengaged, as you start to drift away from the tanker. You feel the second stage vacuum engines ignite. For the second time in this trip, you're pushed back into your seat. You're now on your way to Mars. You've been traveling for almost 3 months now. You can look out the window and see a pale red dot coming closer and closer every day. It's now been 198 days, 4 hours and 13 minutes since liftoff. You can now see the true beauty of this planet coming into view. You successfully made Mars orbit insertion. As the pilot prepares the ship and crew for EDL. You know that everything has to go perfect at this point. The pilot starts aerobraking maneuvers. This will need to be done in multiple passes to reduce the speed enough for landing. The ship's hull temperature starts to rise. You can feel the ship start to slow and begin to tip upward. You feel the engines ignite and begin to slow the fall of the ship. You're beginning to feel your first hint of gravity again after months without it. You hear the landing gear extend. You feel a shudder as the gear touch down to the Martian surface. You think, wow, we're actually here. You're now on Mars. First thing, the commander asks for crew stats to make sure everyone's okay. Next, the pilot and the engineer do their system checks and shutdowns. Coordinates show we're 10 meters off original landing target position. Ship is stable. The landing surface seems good. Surface compaction looks good. Life support and O2 system as well as backup, all good. System venting surplus fuel and fuel lines, check. Fuel tank pressure, nominal. Attitude control off. Autopilot, guidance off. Descent system and override. Main computer looks good, as well as backup computer 1 and 2. All good. Radio system looks good. Transmission time to Earth and round trip approximately 20 minutes. You consider everything that you've been through to this point, you're doing pretty well, except for the difficulty you have every time you try to move. The months you've spent in zero gravity has made it even difficult for simple movements. But no matter what, you know you need to push through this. The mission commander says we're going to take a mandatory rest period before we get ready to go down to the planet. But you know there's not going to be any sleep involved. The original mission plan was not to set foot on the planet until the following day. But you know the commander and everyone else there can think of nothing else. You know the mission commander's the one that'll set foot on the planet first, but that doesn't really matter. You're all doing something that no human has ever done before. You actually started to doze off for a few minutes, but you were awakened by the mission commander over the comm system saying everybody meet at the airlock. We're going down to the planet. You've put this suit on 100 times before, but for some reason, this time, it's different. The feeling of anticipation is almost overwhelming. You double and triple check everything. You've done this in training, but this time, you know it's for real. It's time. This is actually going to happen. The 4 of you that are going to make the first trip outside walk toward the airlock door. You open the door and step inside and close the door behind you. The mission commander asks, "Is everyone ready?" You think to yourself, "I've always been ready." The airlock depressurizes to match Mars' atmosphere. The door opens, and you take your first real look at the Martian landscape. You've seen this in pictures before, but nothing has prepared you for what you see in front of you today. The access elevator starts to move downward toward the surface. As the commander steps off the elevator onto the surface, you hear him say, "This has been a dream of all man since he first gazed up into the night sky. Today, I take this step for all mankind. Today we stand on the shoulder of giants as we walk amongst the stars." As darkness falls on your new planet, you can rest comfortably, knowing that tomorrow will bring another day.